right, Bills fans, I'm sure you're ecstatic. What is it, 38-10? I think my man, Tommy over at Mafia Sports Report, actually might have called this exact score. This was domination. And I know the faithful are happy. The media is going to say the Bills are back and Allen is a star again. And I don't think they ever were not a good team, and I don't think Allen was never not a star. But the framework was totally different. And the framework on the offensive side uplifted Allen, uplifted this offense, and uplifted this D. Now, I get to be a bad guy a lot on this channel because I try to tell it like it is as I see it, and sometimes, actually more often than not, it's contrarian to the regular viewpoint. Now, back in 2020 in the preseason when I first started covering you, I laid out a framework, a philosophy, and I've been waiting for that. And if you go and watch the first game against the Jets, and then you see my post-game coverage, you'll see in a more recent podcast how I delineated pretty much the framework, the style, the philosophy that you saw against the Raiders. And this is the right framework for the Bills. In this framework, I mean, it's going to change a little bit here and a little bit there. It's football. You're going against different matchups, different caliber teams, and yada, yada, different environments and all this situation. But the general framework is nearly to a T what I was saying. Now, I am doing a little celebrating here because I get to be called a bad guy a lot from my Finn fans, so I need to pat myself on the shoulder every once in a while, and I guess it's not going to hurt you guys too much because you're in a winning mode. Now, I'm not happy about the win. It makes me nervous that the Bills have the right formula. Obviously, like I said, with a general spectrum of going this way and that. Now, I'm going to get into the game today, cover a bunch of different things that I saw, and then wrap it up with some caveats. And the caveats don't mean, oh, you guys really suck or anything. It's trying to say that, okay, you've got this framework. You saw the success. I think it is abundantly clear at this point in time that, this is it, okay? This is the framework, but there are some things that could get this offline. But it's really all in the control of the Bills. And that's a good thing for you and bad thing for my Finn fans. So basically, you had Cook show himself to be a stud of a back. What a day. But if you didn't look at Cook's numbers and just look at Allen, you're like, wow, this guy had an epic day. And if you go to your second receiver, Davis, and you look at his stats, you're like, wow, he had a good day, really good day. And this is what happens when you present yourself in the right way. Balance is key. Balance accentuates the quarterback that you have with his skill set, keeps the defense on the sidelines, lets them rest. A rested defense makes plays. A tired defense gives up plays. So, Allen, 31 of 37, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 2 sacks, 124.6 quarterback rating. Unbelievable. But go down that little next column, rushing, and you got Cook, 17 for 123, 7.2 on a day. And then you add in another 4 for 36 in the receiving department, 159 on a day with 21 touches. But then Harris, 7 for 33, 4.7 in a TD. Murray, 6 for 22, 3.7 for a TD. And Allen only 3. So really, Allen he got sacked twice and he ran twice. So it was 5 hits, and none of them that I recall were grievous. And this is another part. I did a podcast a couple of years ago, I think maybe last year or the year before, showing that as Allen grows in the percentage of actual plays he's involved in on offense, because he runs so much and passes, you get diminishing returns. And when you get to a certain breaking point, you get negative returns. But when he diminishes, his velocity or a production level, it actually increases his production and what he's able to do. And when the more that other people take the production away from him, he rises and the rest of the team rises as well. I got to dig it out and find the numbers. And that's exactly what happened here. I said under center is totally different. I said you let these guys run block, not in draws, and you're going to see them improve. And they did. Not perfect. There's a lot of stuff to grow in, but that's what it's about at this time of the year. I don't think it could be said any more clear than that. You have to be balanced, and if you are the team that you want. So Gabe Davis, 6 for 92, 15.3 TD. Diggs, 7 for 66, working the underneath. A lot of good calls by Dorsey. I called Dorsey shaky bones. I'm surprised it took him this long to figure it out. But he had a good game plan. He worked the line of scrimmage. He worked the short perimeter. He worked the deep. He did actual play action, and that's the biggest thing. There's a lot of final form stuff that this Bills offense can get to if you continue to grow through this format. And I'll get to that in a minute. Now, Milano, we all know how good he is. He had an int, pass defense, 4 tackles. Bernard, filling in for Edmonds, 224, smaller guy, int, pass defense, and 6 tackles. These guys led the day for your defense. But a smaller defense that likes to run nickel more, they need more time on the bench or they get worn out. They were fresh. Raiders are on a good team. We know that. They beat the Broncos by like 2 points or something last week. But they gave up 90. Broncos were a good running team. They gave up 94, but I think you guys had like over 200 on the day or something. What was it? Rushing. I got to hear someplace. Anyway, it was like 200 and something. So they're a good running team. So for you to get what you got, even though last year they were the 19th run defense, so middle of the pack, but towards the bottom end, this is still an exemplary day in the run department. Now, they were 29th in pass defense, and if you look at that, you're like, we got to win to pass. We got to win by attacking that pass defense. But again, Dorsey dialed it up. I say when I see him being wrong, I'm not saying I'm always right about it, but I have to call it when he did it right. How many there was that 2nd and 2 where he handed the ball off to Cook on a draw. Usually that's a pass. Great play. He had under center in the red zone. There was one drive where you're in the red zone. He handed off Murray under the center, then came back to Murray with the draw, and it got you really close to the line of scrimmage. It was a great call because you have to remember when you do this, the DC's respecting that in that drive, and then the following drives, and then the opposing DCs from the next week are looking at it and saying, we got to pay attention to it. And so all the running, all the under center in the red zone on those mixed match downs where you could pass or run, or the short downs in 2nd and 2, they go a long way through the course of the drive, course of the game, and in the future. This is big, big stuff for you guys with caveats that I'm going to get to. Before I get into it, though, I want to say, guys, the likes, the subscribes, the comments. I hate to do this thing, to please do all that stuff, but that's what makes the show go. My sponsors, they see that stuff, and that's how they decide to keep me or not. So please continue to like, subscribe, especially comment. So I want to give you a shout out and a shout out to Acebird, my sponsor, because without the two of you, this show ain't going down. Aceperhead's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so I'm going to get into some keys to play action. This is the final form stuff. As an example, 2 tight end set. Don't like the way Kincaid blocks. But if you put him on the weak side and you have Knox on the strong side and you run that football under center and you play action off of it, as you saw a couple times today, but I don't think it was Kincaid out there. I think it might have been Knox coming across. There was like 2 or 3 really good play actions. But that play action with legitimate belief in that run game will free up Knox to be one-on-one. Allen will have a 2-way go himself. When he gets out to the edge, you'll have the guy coming at him or the guy sitting there and he can run or throw. And that will create huge plays when they truly believe you're going to run the football. when they truly buy up in the box and take that step up or hold their position on the play action, it's going to be a final form thing. The under center stuff is so critical. Now, you have to figure it like a fence. The offensive line is like a fence. When you're farther back, the angle allows you to see the backs much better. You can see that draw handoff much better. But the closer you get to that line of scrimmage, you lose the angle and you lose the player. And this is one thing that makes Cook so dangerous. If you remember, Barry Sanders was 5'8", but he ran like he was 4'2", the way he dropped himself. And when he hit that line of scrimmage, people would lose him. And this is a huge asset for Cook, but he loses some of that in draw. But you ran so much under center. It allowed the blockers to block and to gain confidence over time. Every successful rep breeds more practice, more confidence, and then that helps you through the course of the game, and then over the course of a series of games, and then over the course of the season. Totally different when you do draws. All the under center, I think it was 4 I had mentioned in the first game. You had gross success. I think it was 3 for 19 rushes and a big pass to Davis. But I don't know how many you had. You must have had about 15 under center. It is a big deal. Now defenses have to wait and watch and study under center. What is he doing? Play action, run, pass. Then he had to do the in a shotgun as well. It just adds more to deal with. And when you got talent like Kincaid and Diggs and Davis and Allen and Cook and the rest, it makes it harder and harder to stop them. Running the ball, that's what I've been saying. Run balance. You have to run the football. You got the blitzes. I've been saying, Allen's success comes with the blitz. He needs the blitzes. You sort of one where he gets attacked, he shakes the guy off and it became a nice play. He got blitzed for a sack too. You're not always going to get it, but they were buying the run. They were trying to stop the run. They started dialing up some blitzes. I'm going to be interested to see how many they do. But this was all built out of the run game and the success of the run game. QB sneaks. Now, there's another reason why small ball and running is very critical, because when you get into that 4th and short, even 4th and 1 with Allen, with what you got, it's almost like Hurts with the Eagles. It's a gimme. And so there is so much value in having the deep attack, but having it as a icing on the cake of a balanced approach, tacking the entire portion of the field, but building it off play action, building it off run, building it off short and medium attacks, and not high vertical all day from shotgun. So Cook is very squirmy. There was a toss outside where I think it was Dawkins was out there, and the guys that kind of lost where he was. He was running so low, and he squirted up and picked up a nice gain. Over and over again, he is showing to be an excellent back, much better than I would have thought he would be at this stage. But this squirmy nature really gets accentuated in under the center and be able to attack from multiple formations and looks. This kid, he has a couple times, he goes inside and he bounces it out, and the linebacker safety's there, and he freezes him and then just takes him out to the edge. This is a rare talent. But you have to run inside, run under the center to suck guys up so he can bounce it out. This kid Cook is highly, highly impressive. Now, the only thing I would say as a caveat, I didn't like the penalties towards the end of the game on offense. Kind of got a little sloppy. I had to go back and I really watched most of just the offense and a little bit of the defense. I got a real nerve-wracking game today against the Patriots. I made some tough calls for my team. So if I win, I'm happy, but then I got to say mea culpa. And then if I say I'm right, then I lose. So it's an ugly. So I was into your games, but mostly on offense. I didn't really focus too much. But I didn't like those penalties towards the end. And I thought Dorsey got a little cute when you were up by like 13 or, I don't know, it was a pretty solid number. And so this whole framework, this whole philosophy is built around intestinal fortitude of your offensive coordinator. To run this style is you gotta have patience, because you run that football and you get 1 or 2 yards or you get stopped for 0. It's very easy to go back and chuck and duck. or if it's in a tight game or it's a tight situation, to have that intestinal fortitude, to keep at it, to trust your defense, and to know this is building all kinds of stuff around it is the only concern I have. Dorsey is a smart guy. He understands, but he's got to have that intestinal fortitude because the Raiders aren't a good team. You came out, you kind of got the lead, and you were going from ahead. It's very easy to run this style when you have control. But when you're down 4, down 7, or up by 4, it's the end of the game. Will Dorsey have the intestinal fortitude? And that's really the only caveat I have. Allen got a lot of heat saying he's selfish. When you bang this guy around, I think it really affects upstairs for him. And it should. This guy gets beat up like very few quarterbacks have ever been beat up. And he does. I think there's a selfishness in there, like, hey, I can do it, But I think it's more of trying to prove something when the offense and the team says, you're a guy, get us out, run the ball, pass the ball deep, go, Allen. He gets into this mindset. But when you break that mindset up by handing the football off, getting some easy completions, he looked a totally different man. And this is what I was saying about by the offensive coordinator and the staff taking care of this kid, mitigating his weaknesses, and setting up a situation to accentuate his strengths. This was an incredible game for you guys. In a sense, you had to get it, and you had to get it in a certain way, at least from my evaluation. You got it the right way. If you continue with this, very good success is coming for you guys. So congratulations, as Curtis saying. Thanks for stopping by. Catch you next time. Be well. See you soon. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.